Hey there folks, I'm Mark, in affiliation with Spectrum Pulse, and it looks like things are slowly getting back to normal, or maybe just perhaps the calm before the storm here, cause it's Billboard BREAKDOwn.
I don't remember.
It's strange that as a music critic who follows the Hot 100 on the side, I can make this statement. 2023 is starting off pretty damn slow. Now, part of this is that more often I'm a critic of albums, and there haven't really been big releases yet compared to previous years. But also because the Hot 100 tracking weeks got some lag compared to the daily radio or sales or streaming charts. It's a compiled aggregate and a flawed one. So to pop stands that want real-time data, and they've already moved on to the coming singles battle that'll play out in the charts next week, they would say the Hot 100 is more competitive right now, certainly over last year and at least on streaming. And that's probably true in the micro, but in the big picture, this does not have the wider cultural impact of, say, last year when Gunna and The Weeknd went head-to-head with album bombs in the first week of January. Call this laying down some perspective to see not just the fandom competition, but the constructed music ecosystem as a whole. All these metrics are manipulated by larger, often inept actors in these systems. A lot of competitive slap fights over who gets the very top, while ignoring the larger movements is how these systems reinforce their power and their relevance, and they move further away from progressive change. Keep that in mind. And now to chronicle the actions of this stupid broken system, the top 10, where Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift held on to the number 1, and it was a close race despite dominating sales and ruling the radio. This is because she's losing streaming, and Kill Bill by SZA has so much streaming and YouTube it's making a serious play, but could well be blocked next week beyond the number 2. Now this overtakes Unholy by Sam Smith and Kim Petras, which is solid radio, but now definitely on the downswing in all channels at number 3. And that opens the door for I'm Good Blue by David Guetta and BB Rexa at number 4, which doesn't remotely have the streaming, but the radio and sales are really solid. Speaking of serious radio gains, we got Creepin' by Metro Boomin, The Weeknd, and 21 Savage up to number 5. Really damn good streaming, and the radio is now fully on board. I would not count this out for being a potential massive hit, where it overtook Die For You by The Weeknd at number 6, which is just chugging along with a lot of radio stability. Now both these overtook Rich Flex by Drake and 21 Savage down to number 7. It's making its radio run, but it's starting to slip on streaming, and I'm thinking the timing might have been just a little misplaced in the promotion. Then we got two older songs that are knocked back a bit as they rotate out of airplay and year-end countdowns, As It Was by Harry Styles at number 8, and Bad Habit by Steve Lacy at number 9. And this opens the door to a song I never thought would hit the top 10, Something in the Orange by Zach Bryan. It's got no tangible radio, but the streaming is so ridiculously strong, it's holding sway. I'm actually a little bit floored it lasted this long. And good thing too, it's awesome! And on our flip side though, we do have our losers and dropouts, and there's a few bigger ones in the latter category. Mostly some old songs from 2022 that got their year-end boost before dropping off, like Wasted on You by Morgan Wallen, Jimmy Cooks by Drake featuring 21 Savage, and Billie Eilish by Armani White. Feels kinda similar for the couple losers we have here, like About Damn Time by Lizzo sliding back to 42, or Down Home by Jimmy Allen slipping to 73. Also Bejeweled by Taylor Swift is losing all momentum at 91, and Gato de Noche by Nengo Flow and Bad Bunny is now fully cratering at 75. Good. Now on to our pretty robust, if kind of scattered list of returns and gains. And we're going to start with the latter here because some of these can be predicted, like Escapism by Ray featuring 070 Shake continuing to surge up to 28, or Bebe Dame by Fuerza Regida and Grupo Frontera picking up to 31. But then we saw the quick boost for Half of Me by Thomas Rhett featuring Riley Green up to 63, and the rest of these are just debuts picking up traction whether we wanted them to or not. I gotta be honest, I'm not exactly thrilled that we're seeing surges for The Color Violet by Tory Lanez at 70, or Shut Up My Mom's Callin' by Hotel Ugly at 76, or even Here With Me by David at 77, and Players by Coi Leray at 78. But the more interesting story is in our returns, which, of course, Miss You by Oliver Tree and Robin Schultz back at 94, but that's not what I want to discuss. No, it's Sure Thing by Miguel back at 49. It was a minor hit from 2010, actually made the bottom of the year-end charts in 2011, 2011, but it's now getting a resurgence in viral traction. Now, I do like this song. It was a late cut from my list of the best hit songs of 2011, mostly because it feels like a prototype of the ideas he would expand on Kaleidoscope Dream, and that pitch-shifted voice does not fit the vibe at all. But I gotta wonder if Miguel's gonna try to capture this moment of weird nostalgia he's facing. He's been drip releasing EPs the past couple of years, which is why you haven't heard anything from him, but the last full album was back in 2017, especially given how much his R&B sound was rooted in a lot of liquid guitar weirdness and Prince imitations. I don't know, I think he would fit in pretty well right now if he would choose to come back. But now on to another sparse list of new arrivals. See what I mean when I say the charts feel slow? And let's start with number 100, You Didn't by Brett Young.
Don't let one teardrop fall, girl, you think it's your fault, but it isn't. I fell in love and you didn't.
I feel like I should be way harsher on Brett Young than I often am. His brand of boyfriend country is often saccharine. He's not really a distinctive singer or lyricist, but there's often been a gentle, organic warmth to his sound that many of his peers just don't have. Now, granted, that's been slipping a little, and with this late single, first released in the summer of 2021, my expectations were a lot lower, but goddammit, he did it again. Now, granted, it's still got some sentimentality in the warmer acoustics and the waltz cadence, and Brett Young's polished delivery where he's trying to add a little bit more soul and he can't really sell it. But when you get to the lyrics, turns out this is actually a breakup song where P fell in love with her, but she didn't. And while he's still very dejected about the whole thing, he's got to move on with some maturity. It happens. And yeah, you know what? If you've been in mature relationships that go awry for this reason, there is some weight to a scene like this. At least for me, there's pathos. I've been there. And with Brett Young being in his early 40s, man, he looks good for his age. It feels very lived in and real. So, yeah, I like this. Good stuff. Number 97, That's What Tequila Does by Jason Aldean.
Think about, it'll keep you hung up, keep you drunk on what it was. Man, that's what tequila does.
Whereas here we've got a Jason Aldean late single from his 2021 album with such obviously fake-sounding hand claps, the warbling bass, and an acoustic guitar melody borrowed from early 2000s R&B that doesn't match at all with the attempted electric guitar flair on the hook. Seriously though, what the hell happened to the percussion on this song? Just feels like someone barely programmed the drum track at all, and it leads to a totally incoherent atmosphere. This is a post-breakup moment of misery where tequila brings back all those memories and keeps him at the bar, maybe a hope of a reunion, but the entire song feels structured to be anthemic, especially as Aldean tries to belt, and yet it's tonally muted and powerless. It's a tonal disaster. And maybe it's just me, but as someone who actually will sip tequila slow on occasion, that's not really a vibe I associate with that liquor. I mean, bro country would normally go to beer or whiskey or tequila, but in a party setting. This just feels awkward. It's a bad idea. The definition of a late single only getting traction thanks to lulls in January. It sucks. Number 96, Ditto by NewJeans.
Don't want no riddle 말해줘 say it back or say it out 아침이 너무 멀어서 say it out.
I have a hypothesis that since Blackpink was making inroads into the American market and sputtered hard last year, and that Twice is certainly on the right path to get there, nowhere near fast enough for my liking, but there's more space for even more K-pop girl groups, and hence we've got NewJeans, who dropped their debut EP last year, and they've been racking up singles success elsewhere around the world, with this being their US charting breakthrough. And it wasn't what I was expecting, with the more clattering, breakbeat adjacent percussion around the ethereal melody and a lot more reliance on R&B-esque vocal harmonies. It's a lot more subtle than a lot of K-pop crossovers are, and for a song that's all about love-struck yearning and the desperate hope that other person will reciprocate and say ditto to them, I don't know, the understated vibe kinda works. I think I'd personally prefer a little bit more melody in the instrumental, flesh out the composition a little bit more, but I don't know, it's kind of a cute little track, got its one gimmick. I kind of dig it. And finally, number 93, Black by YoungBoy, Never Broke Again.
Well, for these niggas, they hoes. Five, bitch, gang.
I had concerns when YoungBoy Never Broke Again left Atlantic. I suspected he'd go independent and then promptly vanish off the Hot 100. But what happened might actually be worse. He signed a new deal through UMG with Motown while still maintaining his own subsidiary label. Okay, this would be fine, but part of YoungBoy's cultural ubiquity is how he would just album bomb the Hot 100, monopolize the conversation. But I don't know, whether it's the 8 projects he released last year, say nothing of the feuds, or how outside of Lil Baby these days, Motown artists don't tend to album bomb the charts. Migos used to, but not really in the 2020s. And if YoungBoy lost his promo contacts from Atlantic, he's not guaranteed that streaming dominance to get on all the playlists. Hence, we only got the one song from that album he dropped on January 6th, the song 2 days early outside the tracking week, I should add, and, oh boy, he's hopping on synth-heavy Rage production with one single verse on a cut that's just over 2 minutes. Now, as someone who really doesn't care for Rage beats, I actually don't mind this. The grinding synth tone is lower, it's better balanced against the bassy trap percussion, and YoungBoy's got the intensity in his voice to ride it. The problem is that once again he's got nothing to say beyond talking about all the things he wants and screwing girls with increasingly sloppy rhyming. I mean, the only thing new here is the production, it's trend chasing. And while it could potentially be interesting, YoungBoy doesn't really step up to add more. That's a problem. But you know what? He's not going to get worse of the week. That's going to Jason Aldean with That's What Tequila Does. And the best of the week is going to Brett Young for You Didn't. That was a nice little surprise there, I gotta say. Next week, though, well, it'll be an interesting battle with Shakira and Miley Cyrus entering the fray with big singles near the top of the charts. Stay tuned for that. But until then, I'm Mark. You're watching Billboard Breakdown, affiliated with Spectrum Pulse. And I'll see you next time.